And what's the best advice a vet has given you in game this season?
Nobody gives me advice in game. I wish.
This statement was a clear sign that Christie Sides, the coach of the Indiana Fever, is not providing the necessary support for her players. If a coach doesn't give advice, I simply don't understand why Sides is still there. What is happening at Indiana Fever that led Clark to make this statement? Like this video and subscribe to the channel because we're going to talk about all of this right now. Caitlin Clark clearly expressed her frustration during an interview, highlighting the lack of guidance and support during games. It's shocking to hear that a player of Clark's caliber is not receiving on-court advice. This raises serious doubts about the effectiveness of Christie Sides as a coach. Recently, Clark has shown disinterest and frustration, especially in this press conference after the game against the Seattle Storm. During this conference, she directed reporters to ask Aaliyah Boston questions, showing her discontent with the exclusive attention she was receiving.
You could ask some Aaliyah question. Ask Aaliyah a question.
This only increases the perception that there is a communication and cohesion problem within the team. The media and fans noticed that Clark took only 9 shots during the game against the Seattle Storm, a number well below what is expected from a player of her talent. Instead of supporting and guiding Clark to improve her performance, Christie Sides merely suggested that she should be more active and shoot at least 15 times per game. But how can Clark be more active without the proper support and strategy from the coach? The lack of guidance and the seemingly toxic environment are clearly affecting Clark's performance and contributing to her growing frustration. As fans of Caitlin Clark, we want to see her in an environment where she can thrive and show her full potential. It is evident that under the current leadership of Christie Sides, this is not happening. The Indiana Fever has been facing a series of challenges this season, and the strategic issues are evident. The team has struggled with frequent turnovers and a lack of an effective offensive strategy, which has consistently hampered their on-court performance. In terms of performance, the Fever has shown great inconsistency. After a streak of 4 consecutive wins, the team lost 2 games in a row. This lack of consistency is a direct reflection of the lack of a clear and cohesive strategic approach. Aaliyah Boston, for example, achieved a double-double, but her performance was still below expectations, contributing to the team's overall frustration. Caitlin Clark, who is one of the team's main players, has been particularly affected by these issues. In one of the recent games, she took only 9 shots, a number well below what is expected from a player of her caliber. Coach Christie Sides suggested that Clark should be more active and shoot at least 15 times per game. However, without an effective offensive strategy and proper support, it is difficult for Clark to reach this level of activity. Turnovers have been a persistent problem for the Indiana Fever, totaling 22 in a recent game. This not only affects the team's performance, but also increases the frustration among the players, who are unable to find a consistent rhythm. The lack of cohesion within the team and the poor management of turnovers are clearly hurting the team's performance. Fans of Caitlin Clark want to see her in an environment where she can show her full potential. It is evident that, with the current strategic approach and the leadership of Christie Sides, this is not happening. The Indiana Fever needs significant changes to improve their offensive strategy and reduce turnovers, allowing players like Clark to shine on the court. Caitlin Clark made it clear that she is dissatisfied with the team's management and the execution of plays. She expressed frustration with the team's lack of consistency, especially in executing pick-and-roll plays. Clark acknowledged the need to be more aggressive and seek more shooting opportunities. But without proper support, this becomes a challenge. Clark highlighted the problems with turnovers, mentioning that the team needs to make better reads and quicker decisions. She is not alone in this sentiment. Christie Sides, the team's coach, agreed that turnovers were a decisive factor in recent losses and admitted that the team needs to be more careful with ball possession. Besides turnovers, there is a morale issue within the team. Both Clark and Sides emphasized the importance of keeping the team's morale high and continuing to work together despite the difficulties. Sides praised the team's resilience in continuing to strive and show up for games, even in the face of adversity. Clark's frustration is understandable, especially considering she is an extremely talented player who wants to see her team thrive. The lack of support and poor play management are problems that need to be urgently addressed. Clark needs an environment where she can be assertive and seek more shooting opportunities, with the full support of the coaching staff. Coach Christie side's decisions have had a significant impact on the team's morale and the individual performance of the Indiana Fever players. One of the most frequent criticisms concerns game time management and player utilization. Key players like Caitlin Clark and Erica Wheeler are not being used to their full potential, which hurts the team's overall performance. The lack of a clear strategy and an effective ball movement system is limiting Clark's shooting opportunities. Without these opportunities, it is difficult for her to show her full potential. Coach Sides needs to adjust her planning to maximize the potential of her key players and create more shooting opportunities for Clark. Additionally, the lack of cohesion within the team is evident. Tensions between Clark and other players, such as Aaliyah Boston, are exacerbated by the lack of effective leadership. The poor management of turnovers and defensive inefficiency are hurting the team's performance and increasing the frustration among the players. Christie Sides needs to focus on creating a cohesive and supportive environment within the team. This includes improving communication and execution of both offensive and defensive plays. A more cohesive and supportive environment would not only improve team performance, but also help relieve the pressure on players like Clark, allowing them to focus on playing their best basketball. The situation at Fever is reaching a critical point. If the necessary changes are not implemented quickly, it could have serious consequences not only for the team, but also for Caitlin Clark's career. The lack of guidance and support from Coach Christie Sides is limiting the potential of one of the most talented players in the league. Frequent turnovers, the lack of an effective offensive strategy, and internal tensions are issues that can no longer be ignored. Each game without these changes is a missed opportunity for the Indiana Fever to recover and for Clark to show her full potential. If the leadership of the Indiana Fever does not act now, we risk seeing Caitlin Clark and other talented players demotivated and unable to achieve their goals. This would not only affect the team's performance, but could also lead to greater instability and frustration in the long run. We are concerned about the impact this situation is having on her. We want to see her thrive and lead the Indiana Fever to new heights, but for this to happen, significant changes need to be made immediately. Coach Christie Sides must reevaluate her approach and work to create an environment where Clark and her teammates can thrive. Despite all the challenges and tensions, there is a clear path to recovery for the Indiana Fever, and for Caitlin Clark to shine even brighter. If the necessary changes are made, we can expect a turnaround in the season and a more promising future for the team. Caitlin Clark has incredible potential that, with the right support and guidance, can lead the Fever to new heights. Implementing a more effective offensive strategy, reducing turnovers, and improving team cohesion are essential steps that need to be taken immediately. With a renewed approach and a supportive environment, Clark can finally show all her talent on the court. We fans believe in her ability to overcome these challenges and successfully lead the team. We will see a stronger Indiana Fever, with motivated players and more consistent performance. We believe that with these improvements, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever will not only achieve better performance this season, but also establish a solid foundation for future success. We are looking forward to seeing these changes happen and witnessing Clark reach her full potential. Subscribe to the channel, leave your comment, and see you in the next video.